Yeah. So this is one of the very common questions people generally ask. Who is that right next to standing next to Krishna? And growing up in South India, especially in South India, all the Krishna temples, there is no Radha Rani. Usually we call Venugopal's temple, Venugopal Swami temple or Krishna's temple, but there is nowhere in South India we can say, Radha Krishna temple. The culture is not there in South India. But whereas in North India, we could see many temples where Radha Rani is there. And also by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Radha and Krishna deities are installed everywhere. Throughout the world, we see Radha Krishna deities in temples. Otherwise, typically we know only, Rukmini, Satyabhama. So these are the pastimes we hear in South India as growing up in India. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada brought this Krishna consciousness into the entire world, where we could hear the pastimes of Krishna and also the most confidential knowledge about Radha Rani. Right? And another question typically we hear, is God male or female? That's another question. And sometimes people say God has to be, they define God has to be, God must be a male, because God is the one who is creating all these universes, different universes. He must be very, very powerful. So that means he has to be a male. To have that power, he must be a male. So God must be male. And some people say God is a female, because God is not just power or almighty. God must be very compassionate, very kind-hearted towards all living entities, loving and caring, soft-hearted. That nature has to be there for God. Otherwise, how can be a God? Just not power. So some people say God is a female. And there are some people who say God doesn't have any form. So there is no question of female or male. Right? So, and some people say it's just energy. God is just energy. There is no form. And for many people, there is no clear conception of what is God, whether God is female or male. Right? And especially when it comes to Srimati Radha Rani, people in general do not know much about Radha Rani. It's very, very rare people understanding about Radha Rani. And Radha Tattva is very, very confidential, that it's a very confidential subject matter, that even it is hidden in the Vedas. The name Radha, the pastimes of Radha, the information about Radha is very, very confidential, strictly confidential, the most confidential. Krishna's pastimes are confidential, and Radha Rani's is even more confidential to understand, because they are hidden in Vedas. So, as a result of this, there are so many misconceptions when we talk about Radha Rani. People have very, I would say, very different opinions about Radha Krishna Leela, especially Rasa Leela that we talk about, that we mentioned, that is mentioned in scripture, some scriptures. Bhagavatam, they briefly mentioned about Rasa Leela. So people have very wrong conception about this understanding or love between Radha and Krishna, right? And one thing I wanted to say is that it's a disclaimer that I have no qualification, I am no way qualified to speak about Srimati Radharani, what to speak of Radharani, any confidential pastimes of Krishna. I don't have any qualification. Right? The qualification is given by the Acharyas and the Gurus. They give the knowledge only through the Guru Parampara, only through the Acharyas, the information given by Acharyas. I am just repeating like a parrot. Whatever I heard, I am just repeating. Okay? There may be some mistakes because I am very conditioned, so please accept those. But if there is anything good, that is coming from Guru Parampara and Acharyas. No problems. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cheme divyam evam yo veti tatpataha shaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So what does that mean? Janma karma cheme divyam. The Krishna's appearance and the pastimes. Divyam. Divyam means transcendental. It's very, very difficult to understand. But one who understands the transcendental appearance of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna, they will not take birth again in this material world. That's what Krishna says. So Krishna's pastimes are very, very transcendental. It's very, very difficult to understand. But once you understand the transcendental pastimes, then one can return back to Vrindavan, or the goal of Vrindavan, or the spiritual world. Right? And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Krishna says, so become my devotee. Always think about me. Always meditate upon me. Always think about me. Always worship me with love and devotion. So unless we hear about the pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of Radha Rani, how can we worship him? Right? We should have some information, we should have some knowledge so that we can meditate upon the pastimes of Krishna. By meditating upon the pastimes, who is going to be benefited? We are the ones who are going to be benefited. So that we can constantly think about Radha and Krishna, and that will purify us, purify our existence, so that we can go back to Godhead. Antakale cha mameva swayam mukta kalevaram. So at the end of life, whatever we think, that's what we are going to attain our next life. So our constant mood should be to think about Radha and Krishna. So as I said, we are not at all qualified to speak the confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna. We are going to understand certain things theoretically, what is mentioned in the scriptures. Let's not try to understand too deep into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And also next Saturday we are celebrating Radhashtami. So keeping that in mind, I thought this would be a prelude, or it is just an appetizer. The main course and the dessert are going to be served on the Radhashtami. I'll just leave it. So at least we can get a little bit glimpse of this, slight glimpse of who is Radha Rani, what is her tattva, and what should be our mood when we think about Radha Rani. What is, Gaudiya Vaishnavas like us, why we worship Radha Rani. So that's what I would like to address here. Once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was in South India tour. He went to Srirangam. So Srirangam is the capital of Sri Sampradaya, right? Sri Sampradaya capital is Srirangam. There he met a pujari, very, very wonderful, exalted devotee. His name is Venkatapata. Venkatapata was worshipping Lord Ranganath from morning to evening, always meditating upon him, massaging his body with so many oils. So he was a very, very deep devotee of Lord Ranganath. Then Lord Chaitanya, when he visited Srirangam, he stayed with Venkatapata for 4 months in his house. So every day, being devotees, Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna in the mood of Radha Rani, he came as a devotee, right? So as devotees of the Lord, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkatapata, they both used to discuss the pastimes, the Lord. Then for 4 months, Lord Chaitanya was discussing only about Radha and Krishna, nothing else, only and Radha Krishna. Venkatapata is from Sri Sampradaya. He is Lord Ranganath, he is worshipping Lord Ranganath. He was wondering why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only discussing Radha Krishna. He never mentions anything about Narayan and Lakshmi. He is thinking for them, Lakshmi Narayan is the highest platform for them. But Lord Chaitanya is not even speaking anything, not even uttering one word about Narayan and Lakshmi. So a few months passed by like that, and one day Venkatapata asks Lord Chaitanya, "You are discussing so much about Radha Krishna, what about Lakshmi Narayan? Lakshmi Narayan is supposed to be the highest." Then Lord Chaitanya says that Radha Krishna are the highest even compared to Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi from the Tattva perspective. Right? From Rasa perspective, all Vishnu Tattvas are same. But from Rasa perspective, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Radha Rani is his eternal concept. By hearing that, Venkatapata did not like it. He was very upset. Then for next few days, Venkatapata used to get up and go to Ranganath temple, do his worship, come back home, just go to bed, not speaking to Lord Chaitanya much, nothing, he was like trying to avoid contact with Lord Chaitanya. Then after a few days, Lord Chaitanya, understood that Venkatapata is upset with something. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and asks Venkatapata, "Is there anything wrong? Did I commit any offense? Why are you so angry upon me?" Then Venkatapata says, "My dear Lord, I am not angry on you, but I am really upset and distressed this whole." Then Lord Chaitanya says, "Why are you so distressed?" Then he says that Lakshmi Narayan are supposed to be the highest. That's what our understanding is. But you are telling Radha Krishna are the highest. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains the whole philosophy, the entire tattva of Radha and Krishna, and says, Lakshmi Devi, what to speak of Supreme Lord, Supreme Goddess, she cannot, he says, Lord Chaitanya says, she cannot enter into the Rasa Mandala to see the Rasa Leela. She is not even allowed, she is not even qualified in one sense to see Rasa Leela. That's what Lord Chaitanya says, Venkatapata. So he hears the entire philosophy and then he gets pacified. Venkatapata pacifies. So the point is that even Lakshmi Devi is not qualified to see or to experience the pastimes of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. Right. And once Lord Shiva, after Krishna's appearance in Madura, Lord Shiva wanted to take darshan because Lord Shiva was hearing so much about baby Krishna. Everybody wanted to see, all the demigods, everybody wanted to see this baby Krishna. He is a beautiful, charming, enchanting baby, very, very attractive. So all the demigods, everybody wants to see what is happening with Krishna in Vrindavan, or in the Boma Vrindavan, right? So Lord Shiva wanted to visit and see, take darshan of Lord Krishna, baby Krishna. Then you know how Lord Shiva is, right? With totally matted hair, with ashes on entire his body, right? And then what is the garland? What is the garland he wears, Lord Shiva? He wears the garland of skulls. And not only garland, there are a couple of skulls in his pockets everywhere, right? And the snake around his neck. It's like totally with his entire avatar, the typical Lord Shiva's avatar. And it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the color of Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva's color is mixture of red and black. That is the color of Lord Shiva. So he took a form of a Babaji, but he was with entire all these forms, entire all these things, with the whole 9 yards. And he goes in front of Mother Yashoda's house. And then all the gopis come to know and ask, Babaji, who are you? Why are you here? Then Lord Shiva says, I am here to take darshan of Lord Krishna. Then immediately gopis go inside and tell Mother Yashoda, so there is one Babaji who is visiting and he wants to take darshan of your baby Krishna. Then Mother Yashoda opens the door. As soon as she sees Lord Shiva, immediately she gets scared and shuts the door. She runs inside. No way I am going to show this baby to this guy. She doesn't want to show. And by seeing this, by understanding this, Krishna being, whether it's baby or adult, Krishna is Krishna, right? He's the supreme. He's cognizant of everything, what is happening. Then Lord baby Krishna started crying because he wants to see his devotee. Some devotee wants to see him, but he started crying. Mother Yashoda is thinking, baby is scared. Krishna is scared to see this personality and she doesn't want to show baby Krishna to Shiva, Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, immediately Mother Yashoda shuts the door and Lord Shiva sits in front of the house, Mother Yashoda's house. And 3 days he was just sitting there to have the darshan of Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna. And gopis finally, they asked Lord Shiva to leave, but Lord Shiva was very, determined to see Lord Krishna. And finally they go and beg Mother Yashoda, this looks like this Babaji is not willing to leave this place. He's 3 days, he has not eaten anything, he just wants to see baby Krishna. At least why don't we just show once? And then so that he will be happy and leave. Then Mother Yashoda finally she gets convinced because she is under tremendous pressure. Lord Shiva is waiting there outside for 3 days, not eating anything, right? And is fasting completely, and all the gopis are coming and pressurizing her. At least show him once, what is the problem? So then Mother Yashoda finally agrees, and then she opens the door and she gives a very quick, like a fraction of a second glance to Lord Shiva and immediately closes the door. And Lord Shiva, just by having that just tiny glance of Lord Krishna, his desire gets intensified. He gets an intense desire to watch all the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. So that should be our mood when we are performing our devotional service. We should have intense desire when we are chanting the holy names, when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When we are chanting one mantra, we should have greed to chant another mantra. After chanting another mantra, we should have greed to chant more and more. That is the mood of Acharyas. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all these Goswamis, Acharyas, they were praying that we should have millions of mouths to chant the holy name. Why I have only one mouth? I should be chanting always. That is the greed, that should be the intense desire we all should develop to chant the holy name. So Lord Shiva developed this intense desire to see Krishna or watch Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So then he immediately approaches Brahma because Mother Yashoda is not willing to do this. So he approaches Lord Brahma. He asks Brahma, I need to watch this. I have to be here in Vrindavan to do this. Then Brahma says, sorry, Vrindavan is out of my area. I cannot, there is no influence of demigods here. I cannot do anything here. So the best thing is you go to gopis and you beg them and you ask them how you can be part of this Rasa Leela, how you can take, experience this, all these things. So immediately Lord Krishna Shiva comes down and talks to gopis, Lalita and Vishaka. Lalita and Vishaka are the main Sakhis, there are Ashtasakis, main Ashtasakis, 8 Sakhis. And Lalita, Vishaka Devi is very, very soft-hearted, very soft-spoken. But Lalita is very tough lady. I know you are laughing, some of you. We are not talking about. But anyway, so Lalita is very, very tough. And Lalita is so strong and tough that once she picked up Lord Krishna and threw him out of the window. Now, that was the power, that was, very strong. Lalita is so strong. And she says, she was so sorry, you can't do this. You are not allowed to, enter into this area to watch all this Rasa Leela and other confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Then Shiva begs, how can I do this? I need to do something. Then Lalita and Vishaka says, okay, well, if you become a gopi, then only you are qualified to come and experience all these things. You can watch this. Then Lord Shiva says, Lord Shiva is a male. How do I become gopi? Then he says, okay. And he goes and meditates for 10,000 years to become a gopi. Okay, 10,000 years he meditates. And that is the power of meditation and absorption. If you meditate upon something seriously, intensely, you tend to develop those qualities. So if we meditate upon Lord Krishna, meditate upon chanting the holy names, we acquire those qualities. So Lord Shiva, after 10,000 years of meditation, he becomes a gopi. Then he goes back to Lalita and Vishaka. Okay, now I am here, so can I get inside? Then Lalita Vishaka says, so that's wonderful, now you have become a gopi. Okay, now you stand here, guard this Rasa Mandala. You are not allowed to enter inside, but you become a security guard. So that is the position given to you. So like that, Gopishwar Mahadev is called Gopishwar Mahadev. So Gopishwar Mahadev becomes Kshetra Palaka. He is the protector of the Dham and he guards that entire Rasa Mandala in that area. So the point is, even Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, what kind of qualification? We are talking about, we want to talk about Radha Rani and we want to hear about Radha Rani's pastimes. So even Lord Shiva is not able to enter into the area. So that's why we can only, talk theoretically about certain pastimes and some stories of Radha and Krishna. And also what attracts Radha and Krishna. So to understand these pastimes, first of all, with our limited mind, we cannot understand. We have very, very limited. Mind is material. We are very, very limited. The unlimited Lord cannot be understood with our tiny brain, tiny mind. So one should have a strong determination. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what is that? Ekeha Kurunandana. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, Ekeha Kurunandana. So one should have a strong, one-pointed attention and devotion towards Krishna. And one should develop humility. Only by humility, developing the humility and devotion, one can, when Krishna desires to give that knowledge, how much ever Krishna exposes, that much only the devotees can understand Krishna Tattva or Radha Rani's pastimes. So there is one Goswami called Lokanath Goswami. So he's not one of the 6 Goswamis. There are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and on the altar, the Guru Parampara picture, there is a 6 Goswami picture, right? Picture of 6 Goswamis. Lokanath Goswami can be considered as a 7th Goswami, but he strictly said Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He's so humble, and Lokanath Goswami is so humble. He's a pure devotee, but he's so humble. He says, if you write my name as a Goswami, if you consider me as a 7th Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I will commit suicide. I will give up my life. Don't even do that. That's why only 6 people are considered as Goswamis, right? So he was a pure devotee or follower of Lord Chaitanya. He's like a shadow. Wherever Lord Chaitanya goes, Lokanath Goswami goes along with him. He never leaves. He never wanted to leave Lord Chaitanya. Lokanath Goswami never wanted to leave Lord Chaitanya, right? Even for a moment, he's always with him. So one day, Lord Chaitanya, when he was in Puri, he instructed Lokanath Goswami to go to Vrindavan to assist 6 Goswamis. 6 Goswamis were excavating all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, right? So before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we did not know about Radha Rani and all these pastimes. There was no knowledge of all these things. Even the places of worship and pastimes happened. there was no knowledge. So the 6 Goswamis went to Vrindavan area to excavate and to rebuild all this area. That's what happened 500 years ago. So Lord Chaitanya tells Loknath Goswami, why don't you go to Vrindavan and assist the 6 Goswamis? But then Loknath Goswami doesn't want to get separated from Lord Chaitanya. So he says that, you just go there, within 3 months, I will just come and visit you again. So don't worry, just for 3 months. So then with so much difficulty, Loknath Goswami goes towards Vrindavan. After that, while he was going towards Vrindavan, after being there, then he hears that Lord Chaitanya is not coming towards Vrindavan, but he is taking South India Yatra. So Lord Chaitanya goes to South India Yatra. So then immediately, he doesn't want to, he cannot bear the separation. So right, he wanted to go to Lord Chaitanya immediately. So he starts walking towards South India. From Vrindavan, Loknath Goswami starts walking towards South India. So then first he goes to Sri Rangam. Then immediately devotees say, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here for, just now he left Ranganath temple and then he went to Madurai. Then he goes to Madurai. By the time Loknath Goswami goes to Madurai, then they say, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here just, few hours ago, but he left to some other place. Like that, he tries to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 6 months. Just trying to, get hold of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes through entire this, South India Yatra, and finally he comes to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Vrindavan. So finally, Loknath Goswami goes back to Vrindavan. By the time Loknath Goswami goes to Vrindavan, then they tell that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Puri. By the time all these things happen, it's more than 6 months. So finally, Loknath Goswami comes to Puri, back to the place where he was before. Then unfortunately, by the time Loknath Goswami comes to Puri, he hears the news that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this planet. He is no longer there. So by hearing this shattering news, Loknath Goswami immediately faints right there. He becomes unconscious. So then after some time, after a few moments, because of the devotees around him, they wake him up and he comes to external consciousness. He cannot bear the separation from Lord Chaitanya. So day and night he starts worshipping Radha and Krishna. He has a deity named Radha Vinod, right? So Radha Vinod deity, he started worshipping them, and he doesn't have anything else. He's just throughout the day just worship. Beg some alms from the gopis and around Vrindavan area, and then offer that as bhoga to Radha Vinod deities. And then after that he gets tired and he sleeps, or whenever he thinks of Lord Chaitanya, immediately he goes into trance. He just feels unconscious. And this was going on, and then whenever he feels unconscious, Radha Vinod, they are getting hungry. You are becoming unconscious. You are thinking about Lord Chaitanya all the time. You are getting unconscious. So then who is going to feed me? Feed us. Then immediately Radha Vinod appears, and then he wakes him. They wake him up. So Loknath Goswami, we are hungry. So feed us something. So then again gets up, then goes and bakes something, comes back, and then again feed them, and again think about Lord Chaitanya, feels unconscious. So he was feeling unconscious, he was getting unconscious, and Radha Vinod comes and wakes him up. That is the service of Radha Vinod. So who is doing service here? Is Loknath Goswami serving Radha Vinod, or Radha Vinod serving Loknath Goswami? Right? We think we do so much service for the deities. That we do so much service. Wow, morning to evening we do 2 hours of chanting. I put $2 in the hundi. I offer a coconut and 2 bananas, and we do that is a service. But who is serving us 24/7? We serve for 2 hours, and we think that is a service. Krishna is serving us 24/7 by protecting us, by giving us whatever we need, everything. So truly in devotional service, who is serving us? Either we are serving Krishna or Krishna is serving us. So if you think so deeply, Krishna is always serving us. So Krishna always wants to serve his devotees. So that was the determination of love and humility of Loknath Goswami, right? And also, how do we understand these pastimes? Since these are not mentioned in Vedas, it is hidden in the Vedas and our scriptures only through Guru Parampara. Only through Acharyas in our Guru Parampara, we can try to understand some pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Only when they give us the knowledge, we can understand this knowledge. There is I'll tell you one thing. Sorry, one second. So, the original authority original authority on Krishna is who? Who is the original authority of Krishna to understand? Krishna himself. Only when Krishna reveals something we can understand. In this particular regard, Arjuna confirms in Bhagavad Gita, 10.15, he says, Swayam evatmanatmanam vettatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. So what does that mean? He says, Arjuna says, indeed you alone know yourself by your own potencies. O origin of all, Lord of all being, God of gods, O Supreme Person, Lord of the universe. So only Krishna knows about himself, right? Nobody else can know Krishna. So only when he reveals we can understand Krishna. So there is a great devotee, this pastime is mentioned in Chaitanya Mangal. His name is Srinivas Acharya. Okay? So the purpose of this pastime is to understand that one has to serve in Guru Parampara always. We should not try to serve Radha and Krishna directly. We have to always go through our Guru serves his Guru serves Guru, and finally they go to Radha Rani, and then Radha Rani offers whatever we want to offer, Radha Rani offers to Krishna. That should be our mood. So there was a devotee called Srinivas Acharya. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Mangal. So he was a very, very wonderful devotee. He is a disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and also he took Siksha from Jiva Goswami. So very exalted devotee, right? And he is such an exalted devotee. He used to go into trance time to time. Every day, every other day, he used to go into trance. In the trance means samadhi. He used to go into the samadhi. In samadhi, he used to visit Golok Vrindavan. He used to go to Golok Vrindavan and experience the pastimes and spend a couple of hours. After a couple of hours, he used to come back into the external senses. That was going on. And his wife is used to this, because she knows that, okay, he goes into trance like this every day for a couple of hours. Then she knows that he comes back into external consciousness. She is not scared of this. But one day what happens, Srinivas Acharya goes into trance, and 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. Srinivas Acharya doesn't come back into external consciousness. 1 day passed, 2 days passed. So she gets, really concerned. His wife, Srinivas Acharya's wife, really gets concerned. What is happening here? Why is he not coming into external consciousness? Maybe Srinivas Acharya, this is time for him to leave this world. Maybe that's what is happening. So then he approaches Srinivas Acharya's disciple. His name is Ramchandra Kaviraj. So Ramchandra Kaviraj is a very, very dear disciple of Srinivas Acharya. So he is such a close disciple of his Guru. Whatever his Guru is thinking, the disciple also thinks. They are always in sync, right? So Srinivas, Ramchandra Kaviraj immediately understands that, his Guru is in Golok Vrindavan, and then he goes into the trance. In that samadhi, he also goes back into spiritual world. There, typically what is our consciousness? Immediately I want to go Krishna, I want to see Krishna, I want to participate in Radha Krishna's pastimes. We want to do everything. We should be there everywhere, right? We should be in the front doing every service, our name should be there everywhere. That's a typical consciousness. But Ramchandra Kaviraj, that was not his consciousness. His mood is, where is my Guru? I want to find my Guru in Golok Vrindavan. So he started searching for his Guru Srinivas Acharya. Finally, after searching, he finds Srinivas Acharya and asks, what are you searching? You seem to be here for a long time. What is going on? Then Srinivas Acharya says, when Radha and Krishna were having Jalakrida means the pastimes in the water, right? Water sports. They were having a water sports. Radha Rani's snow stud, it fell in the water somewhere in the river. So now everybody is searching for that nose ring. And some devotees are searching for days, months, and then that's what Srinivas Acharya tells Ramchandra Kaviraj. Ramchandra Kaviraj immediately he goes into the water and starts searching for the nose ring. Then luckily, fortunately, Ramchandra Kaviraj finds the ring, nose ring, within half hour. Immediately he gets it. So what should you do? Immediately rushes to Radha Rani. See, I found this. I should get the medal. Did he do that? No. What did he do? He immediately picked up the nose ring and goes to his Guru. Guru, I found this. Then what does Srinivas Acharya does? He takes the ring and he gives it to his Guru. His Guru gives it to his Guru. Like that, they go through entire parampara, and finally they offer that ring to Srimati Radharani. So that should be our mood when we are doing the service in the temple. We always have to do in the mood to please our Guru. or spiritual master. When we please spiritual master, then whatever we are offering, whatever we wanted to offer to Radha and Krishna, he offers it back to all the way up to Srimati Radharani. Even if there are some faults, apparent faults in our offering, Radharani is like our mother. So she covers it up and she offers that to Krishna. She removes everything and says, okay, this is the devotee, you are devotee, so just accept this offer. So that's the mood of Srimati Radharani. So that's why we have to always follow the parampara. Guru parampara is very, very important. For the people who are wondering, I don't have a guru, I am not initiated, so what should I do? You are talking about guru, siksha. So for the people who are not yet initiated, Srila Prabhupada is our siksha guru. So one should follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada and follow his instructions and serve him in that mode. Right? Okay. So now, I just wanted to mention what is the importance of guru parampara and what should be our mood, how we can develop the determination. We should have humility like Loknath Goswami to serve Srimati Radha Rani and Krishna. Now let's come back to the understanding of who is Srimati Radha Rani. I spoke so much, almost like half an hour, but who is she? Who is Radha Rani? Who is that girl standing right next to Krishna? Who is she? So Radharani is not an ordinary, mundane lady in Vrindavan, right, in this material world. She is the pleasure-giving potency of the Lord. She is the pleasure-giving potency of the Lord. So this sounds very high, what is pleasure-giving potency of the Lord? What does this mean, right? So every one of us wants to enjoy, right? So that's our nature. The nature of the soul is Anando Mayo Vyasat, meaning the soul is pleasure seeking. We always want to enjoy, we always want to have fun. But in this material world, when we want to enjoy, can we enjoy by ourselves? Our enjoyment, our happiness is always depending on something else, some external. If I only get money, I will be happy. If I get a beautiful wife, I will be happy. If I get a beautiful husband, I will be happy. Or a beautiful bungalow, beautiful, wonderful job, 6-figure salary. Whatever, we always have these desires. Our happiness always depends on external. But Krishna, being the Atmaram, he is the Swarat. He is completely supreme, independent. He does not have to depend on anything externally when he wants to have pleasure. Everything is inside, right? Inside Krishna. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he is the source of everything, right? Krishna is the source of everything. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvam idam protam sutre maniganaiva. He says that, O conqueror of wealth, O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me like pearls are strung onto a thread. You can see the pearls. When you see a beautiful pearl garland, it is well-made pearl garland, you cannot see the thread. But everything is depending on the thread, right? If you just cut little bit, there is no thread, everything falls apart. Similarly, everything is depending on Krishna. Everything is in Krishna. Everything rests upon Krishna. So Krishna does not have to depend on externals for his pleasure, right? So Krishna has unlimited energies, right? Krishna being a supreme Lord, he has unlimited energies. But these energies are classified into 3. Okay, all Krishna's energies are divided into or classified into 3 energies. What are those energies? One is Antaranga Shakti, which is called internal potency, Bahiranga Shakti or external potency, and the third one is marginal potency or Tatastha Shakti. So the internal potency is also called spiritual energy, Chit Shakti it's called. Chit Shakti means spiritual energy. Right? External potency is Maya Shakti. This entire material world is under the control of Maya Shakti, or it's a material energy. And who are we? So we are Jivas or Jiva Tattva, we come under Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti means marginal. We are by nature spiritual, but we are in the border. That means we have the tiny free will to choose whether we want to associate with spiritual or we want to associate with material. That's why we are called Tatastha Shakti, right? So these are the 3 broad categories of energies: Antaranga, Bahiranga, Tatastha, external, internal and marginal. So within this internal potency, which is Chit Shakti, that is again classified into 3 energies. Okay, so now all the energies together are classified into 3, right? Internal, external, marginal. The internal energy again classified into 3 energies. Okay, What are those three energies? Hladini, Samvid and Sandhini. Okay? Remember, Hladini, Sandhini and Samvid. These are the three categories of internal energy. So what are these energies? So Sandhini Shakti is a energy of aspect of his eternal existence. That is a Shakti which expands into spiritual world. The existence, complete existence of this. By his existence, he maintains all this, which he maintains this total existence, everything. The realm, total realm is, by this Sandhini Shakti, all this is maintained, right? And Lord Krishna, being the supreme or completely pure spiritual, he rests upon this Sandhini Shakti. Okay, and the next one is Samvid Shakti. The first one is the existence of the spiritual world and everything. That is the Sandhini Shakti. The next one is Samvid Shakti. Samvid Shakti is the potency of the knowledge, the cognizance. So only by that knowledge, only by Samvid, people can understand Krishna. Krishna can reveal himself. That knowledge aspect is Samvid Shakti. Okay, Sandhini Shakti is the existence, Samvid Shakti is the knowledge aspect of it, and the third internal energy is Hladini. Hladini Shakti, nothing but is a bliss, or the aspect of happiness, or the bliss, internal potency, right? So this is the one which gives pleasure. Hladini Shakti is the one which gives pleasure to Krishna. Okay, so now we are all experiencing some happiness when we do devotional service or anything. We just imagine whatever the potency that is giving us happiness. If you take out that potency and give a personality, that is Radha Rani. Okay, the pleasure that Krishna is deriving, the extreme bliss that Krishna is always deriving, the potency where that pleasure is coming from, the potency, the external manifestation of that potency, if you give a personality, that is Radha Rani. Okay, so that's why Radha Rani is called Hladini Shakti. So Krishna derives extreme pleasure from Radha Rani. So from that perspective, there is no difference between Radha and Krishna. There is no difference between Radha and Krishna. You can say that Radha Rani is the female aspect of God, Krishna is male aspect and Radha Rani is female aspect. Otherwise, the absolute truth consists of combination of both Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna are one Atma but two bodies. One Atma but then two bodies. That's what is Radha Rani, right? And I wanted to say something else also. Anyway, I lost my thought. So, yeah. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are several verses in Adi Leela, especially in Adi Leela 4th chapter. There are several verses describing who is Radha Rani. So I will just recite few verses and then we will move on to the next section, how Radha Rani appeared in this material world. Okay, with that we will end this class. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that it's Adi Leela, chapter 4, 56 verse. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Dui Deha Dari Anyonye Vilase Rasa Aswadana Kari. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed two bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. So that is one verse, right? And then there is another verse, Adi Leela, chapter 1 and 5th verse, chapter 1, 5th verse, which is very, very popular verse. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladin Shakti Rasmad Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adhuna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dhyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He says, the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united. in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So basically we are talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the point is that Radha and Krishna are one, but in two different bodies. But again they appeared as one personality, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this age of Kali Yuga, right? So, and another one, Avatari Krishna Yaiche Kari Avatara Asmini Radha Haite Tina Ganera Vistara. Just as the fountainhead Lord Krishna is the cause of all incarnations, Sri Radha is the cause of all these concerns. When you see Sita, Lakshmi, all these different Shaktis are all expansions of Radharani. Like for all incarnations, the source is Krishna. For all Shaktis, the origin is Radharani. The original personality is Radharani. So Radharani is the Shakti and Krishna is the Shaktiman. It is like sun and sunlight. We cannot separate sun and sunlight. They are always together, right? You cannot say sunlight is separate and sun is separate. As soon as there is sun, there is sunlight. As soon as we say sunlight, that means there is sun. And we cannot separate fire and heat. Similarly, Radha and Krishna are same. Okay? And in fact, according to our Gaudiya philosophy, the rasa, Radharani even higher than Krishna. How is that possible? How is devotees can be, powerful than the Krishna or the creator, or the, right? So usually when somebody creates something, the creator is higher than the creation. But when it comes to devotional service, when it comes to Radharani is more powerful than Krishna. How do you understand that? I'll tell you some simple mundane example that I heard recently. I liked it. So when you open a bank account in the bank, right? Here it's a little different, but in India. So when you open a bank account, they take a picture of you and then they'll take signature 3 times as a proof. So they put the signature in their file, right? So you open the account, you put money into the account, you put $100,000 or whatever, you put $1 million, whatever. So you put the money into the account and then you go back after some time, after a month or so. So you go and you want to withdraw the money. So you are the one who created the account, you are the owner of the account. But when you go and ask for money, do they give you the money just like that? They ask for your signature. Without your signature, they are not going to give you the money. So is the signature more powerful or you are powerful there? You are standing right there, you are the one who opened the account. But without your signature, they are not even going to give the money. Right? It appears that signature is more powerful in that instance. Similarly, from rasa perspective, Radharani is more powerful because Krishna comes under the control of Radharani. Krishna comes under the control of Radharani because of her devotion to Krishna. Radharani binds Krishna with her devotion. Okay? She is called Madana Mohana Mohini. Krishna is called Madan Mohan. He is the attractor of all the cupids, millions of cupids together. Krishna attracts all of them. The cupid is attractive, very, very attractive. Millions of cupids together, they are attracted to Krishna's beauty. And such Krishna, right, is attracted to Radharani. So that's why Radharani is called Madana Mohana Mohini. Once Srila Prabhupada gave a class, Radharani, on Radhashtami. It's a 25-minute or 30-minute class. So Srila Prabhupada started speaking about this, Radharani's class, and then he started speaking about Krishna. He just went on and on and on. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. He's talking about the glories of Krishna. How Krishna created this material world, how Krishna expanded into so many avatars, different pastimes, his greatness, everything, like for 25-30 minutes, Prabhupada spoke about Krishna only. Finally, he says, such great Krishna, he is controlled by Srimati Radharani. That is Srimati Radharani. The class ends right there. So that is the power of Srimati Radharani, right? So there are so many verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita glorifying Srimati Radharani. Okay. So now, how this Srimati Radharani came into this material world? Okay. I mean, she appeared in Golok Vrindavan first, and then from there she entered into Bhoma Vrindavan, or this earthly planets. So, how did she enter? She was cursed, Srimati Radharani was cursed by a personality called Sridama in Golok Vrindavan. Why did Sridama curse Radharani? Let's hear this. So once Srimati Radharani was serving Sri Hari, Lord Krishna, in Golok Vrindavan in a solitary place. And while she was serving Krishna, she goes into the trance. She becomes unconscious completely. She goes into the unconscious. So Krishna waits for a few minutes, and then she's in trance. So then Krishna decides to leave and go to another gopi. Her name is Viraja. Okay. So Viraja is another very, very extremely beautiful gopi. She is always Navayavana, only 14-year-old, extremely very, very beautiful. So she goes and having pastimes with Viraja. So then after some time, Radharani comes into her external consciousness, and then immediately she looks at around, and then Krishna is not to be found. And this happens all the time because Krishna is so beautiful. Radharani is so devoted. Whenever she is with Krishna, Radharani goes into this trance many times. Once Radharani was sitting in the lap of Krishna, and she goes into the trance, and then she starts crying. Krishna is right there. Krishna is, she's sitting on Krishna's lap, but she goes into this extreme ecstasy and trance that she starts crying. And in that crying, she could not see Krishna. She thinks Krishna is gone, and she started lamenting and crying, right? Then what happened? Okay, actually then one of at the time there is one bumblebee which comes towards Radharani. She starts coming towards Radharani, not to attack, but because Radharani's breath and everything is so fragrant, she's attracted. The bumblebee is attracted towards Radharani. She started coming towards Radharani, and Radharani, tries to shove off the bumblebee. Then she could not do that. And then one of the Gopas right there, he somehow he pushes the bumblebee, and then he says, finally Madhu is gone. That's what the Gopa says. Madhu means basically bumblebee, But then as soon as, she hears Madhu is gone, she thinks Krishna is gone. She's sitting on the lap of Krishna, but she thinks Krishna is gone, and she started lamenting. So by seeing her lamentation and by her crying, Krishna looks at her and says, he started crying. What is going on? Why Radharani is crying? So because of these tears, Prem Sarovar is born. There is a Sarovar, there is a lake in Vrindavan, it's called Prem Sarovar. So like that, Radharani goes into trance many times. So this time she went into trance. During that time, Krishna goes to Viraja to have some pastimes with Viraja. So after Radharani comes back into external consciousness, she understands that Krishna is gone. She asks gopis, where is my dear Krishna? Then gopis say that, he left and he is with another gopi called Viraja. Then immediately she gets really extremely angry. How can Krishna do this to me? How can he leave my place and go to some other gopi? Then immediately she goes and she picks up, she wanted to go to Krishna immediately to that place where Viraja and Krishna are there, and she pulls the chariot. So do you know how big is the chariot? Can you guess? How big is Radharani's chariot in Golok Vrindavan? It is 100 yojanas. You know what is yojana? Yojana is 8 miles. 100 yojanas means 800 miles. Her chariot is 800 miles. Okay. And she has 630 million gopis assisting her. 630 Sakis assisting Radharani. All these 630 million gopis, Sakis, they jump onto this chariot because they all want to go and see Krishna there in Viraja. They wanted to get him, red-handed. So they all go there, and there is a beautiful description of this chariot, how this chariot, as I said, it's 800 miles. There are rivers, there are lakes, there are gardens, the golden pillars, completely fresh flowers, hanging entire, just you can imagine. So the beautiful description of this chariot is given in some scriptures. But, okay, they go to this place where Viraja and Krishna are having pastimes. So then Krishna, outside of that kunj, there is a god called Sridama. Sridama is extremely handsome, very, very beautiful personality. He was with 100 other gopas. They were guarding that area. Radharani wanted to go, and Sridama picks up the stick and says, no, nobody is going inside. Nobody is going inside. Then all the gopis, the Sakis of Radharani, they get really agitated. How can somebody stop my master Radharani? How can they do this? And immediately they come and they chastise Sridama left and right. They push him away and they go inside. Radharani, you go inside. So by hearing all this noise, Krishna understands that there is something happening at the door. So looks like Radharani has come, immediately disappears from there. Then Viraja looks around and Krishna is missing. Then she starts lamenting and she wanted to give up the body because Krishna left me. So she gives up the body, and the Viraja, the beautiful 14-year lady, she becomes Viraja river. Okay? So this river is the border between the spiritual world and the material world. That is the Viraja river. Very, very beautiful, fragrant river. And the size of the river is also mentioned in the scriptures. So we don't have to worry about that. Then Radharani comes into that, and then she cannot see Krishna and she doesn't see Viraja. She understands that Viraja took a form of a river, and then she leaves. She goes back. Then after some time, Krishna comes back and he looks at Viraja. Viraja is not there, and then it's a river. Then Krishna starts lamenting and she cries out for Viraja. Viraja, how can you leave me like this? So please come back. Please come back. And then, by seeing Krishna's situation, Viraja comes back again as a beautiful lady. And out of, so he was extremely happy to see Viraja, and then he goes and embraces Viraja. So because of that embrace, she begets 7 children. Viraja river, Viraja begets 7 sons. So these 7 sons, okay, then these pastimes are going on and on. And then, the youngest child once comes to Viraja while Viraja is having a private pastime with Krishna. He was very, very scared because his 6 elder brothers are torturing him. So he comes and complains, Mommy, so brothers are doing all these things to me. So then, Krishna, looking at the situation, he goes away so that, Viraja can take care of all these things. So this is going on. There is some disturbance in the pastimes between Radha and Krishna and Viraja. So by understanding this, the Viraja cannot tolerate this anymore. So these kids are becoming obstacle in our relationship, in my relationship with Krishna. Then she curses all these 7 sons to become 7 oceans in this material world, in Jambudvipa. One of them is a sweet water ocean, one is a sugar cane ocean, one is a salt lake ocean, one is the milk ocean. There are different 7 types of ocean. They become, these 7 sons become here. Okay, so that happens. And then finally, Krishna also understands that this is what is going on, and then he tells Viraja not to worry, and then he goes back to Radharani, okay, to appease her, because he has to go back to Radharani again. No matter what, he has to go back to Radharani. So Radharani, by this, Radharani is very, very upset. She is in her sulking chamber. So she goes to sulking chamber and she closes the door. She doesn't want anybody to come. And she keeps all these gopis, the Sakhis outside. Then Krishna who wants to go inside to see Radharani. Then the Sakhi says, no, you are not allowed inside. You cannot go inside. And then Krishna begs, and there is some beautiful exchanges there. Actually, instead of, I don't do good job of explaining these kinds of things, so I thought I can read some few words. Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so they say, so Radharani, the gopis stops Krishna from entering into the house. So Srimati Radharani starts saying this. Okay, she said, "Oh Viraja Kanta." So because he went to Viraja, so he's saying, "Oh Viraja Kanta." So we are very good at that, right? We try to poke, "Oh Viraja Kanta." "Oh Viraja Kanta, go away from here. You are chanchala, fickle. You are a thief and a debauchee. Why are you giving me so much pain? Go to Padmavati or Ratnamala or Manohara or Vanamala or any other lady who is incomparable in her beauty. Oh husband of a river." Now Viraja has become a river. So husband of a river, now I know your Swarupa. Let there be all auspiciousness unto you. Now leave my house. Oh Lampata, you have behaved like a human being, so you should go to earth and accept a human form there. After speaking in this angry way to Krishna, Radharani addressed her Sakhis. O Sushile, O Sashikale, Padmavati, Madhavi, you must stop this most cunning one from entering. What business has he here? That's what Radharani is telling this, right? So then finally, some gopis who are compassionate towards Krishna, they say, okay, Radharani is very angry right now. Why don't we just go to stay in the side house? Just stay there. So Krishna goes and stays somewhere else, right next to that house. He was sitting there waiting for next thing to happen. So his assistant, his close assistant Sridama was observing all these things. He could not tolerate this. If somebody is speaking like this to my master, how can Radharani speak like this? So he gets really agitated. Okay. So now he goes to Radharani. Sridama goes to Radharani and he says, "O Sri Radhika, why are you abusing my friend and talking all these bitter words? Devi, you are rebuking him unnecessarily without any proper consideration. One who is the worshipable Lord of Brahma, Ananta, Maheshwara and Dharma, who is the cause of this cosmic manifestation, who is the controller of Saraswati, Lakshmi, Maya, Prakriti, who is Nirguna, devoid of material qualities." Nirguna means, all right. Atma Rama, you are troubling that Krishna, you are troubling that Krishna and you are troubling that Krishna who is all these things, and giving him so much difficulty. You should be careful with your behavior towards Krishna. O auspicious lady, it is surprising to me that you do not recognize him, by the service of whose lotus feet you have become Sarveshwari, great among all Ishwaras. So that's what Sridama tells, Sridama tells Radhika. So like this, there are some exchanges between Radhika and Sridama. So finally, Radha gets really angry with, because Sridama is chastising Radhika. So Radharani cannot tolerate this. Finally, she curses Sridama. You do not understand the power of mother, love of a mother. You are always taking side of a father. So because of that, I curse you to, like demons take sides of, they always fight with demigods for everything, they fight with demigods. Similarly, you are always fighting with me, taking side of Krishna. I curse you to become a demon in the material world. That's what Radharani curses Sridama. Then Sridama in return, he curses Radharani. Because you are doing all these things to Krishna, you are behaving like you are getting anger like a normal human being. You become a normal human being in the material world. You should go to him. And then he curses Radharani. So then they exchange these words and they go. And Sridama goes back to Krishna and then explains everything, whatever happened. Then Krishna consoles Sridama and says, don't worry. So you become a demon, a greatest demon called Shankachuda in the material world. He is the king of all the demons, Shankachuda. So you be there for 5 yugas. After that, you will come back to Golok Vrindavan. So don't worry. So that's what Krishna tells Sridama, right? Sridama becomes Shankachuda in the material world. Then what happens to Radha? So Radha is cursed to become a human being. So then after that, things settle down and then Radha Krishna get together again. Then Radha expresses her, so this is what happened, the exchange between me and Sridama. Sridama, cursed me like this. So, but I don't want to see anybody, in the material world. Then Krishna says, when you come into the material world, you will not see anyone, you will not hear anyone, you will not talk to anyone unless you see me first. I will be the first person you see in the material world when you enter into the material world. Then only you see rest of the world. That's what he tells Srimati Radharani, right? So then eventually Krishna comes into this material world, right? So to kill Kamsa and to establish all these things. Then Krishna is taken, he takes birth in Madura in the prison, and then he was taken to Vrindavan after 1 year or so, 1 year, I think 1 year 14 days, 1 year 1 month 14 days or something like that. Then Radharani appears. So there are different variations how Radharani appears in the material world. There is one story goes like this, where there is a mountain called Vindhya. So there is a Vindhya mountains and there is Himalayas, right? Himalayas is a very huge mountain. And who is the daughter of Himalayas? What is that? Parvati, Himaja or Parvati, right? And who is Parvati's husband? Lord Shiva. So Vindhya started getting envious. So now Himalaya got, beautiful daughter, Himaja and Parvati, and her husband is very powerful, Mahadev. I also should have a daughter, her husband also, my son-in-law also should be very, very powerful. So then Vindhya does a severe austerity to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma appears and says, Okay, what do you want? I am pleased with your austerity. What do you want, Vindhya? Vindhya says, I want a more powerful son-in-law than Himalayas. So Krishna, Brahma, without thinking second, blink of second, says, Tadasu. Okay, he does the, he gives the boon, but then he was thinking, and he's scratching his head, I mean, Mahadev is very, very powerful, extremely powerful. And, who can really defeat Mahadev? How is it possible? I already gave the boon. What to do? But he has to fulfill because he gave the boon. So then he thinks about this. Okay, very soon Krishna is going to appear in this material world. So if I bring a daughter who is going to be a lover of Krishna, then that satisfies Vindhya. So that's what the Brahma thinks. And then he makes an arrangement for two daughters to come as Vindhyas. One is Radha Rani and the other one is Chandravali. So when there are two small babies, Putana comes and picks these two babies. Okay, then Putana picks up these two babies, two baby girls, and goes up and high in the sky. And then immediately Vindhya gets really upset and angry, and she's feeling very scared. What is going to happen? She's very, very sad. Then she tells all the Brahmanas in that area to start doing some austerities so that the daughters will be returned. So all these Brahmanas, very, very powerful mantras, they started chanting all these mantras. And then because of this, Putana started becoming weaker and weaker by the power of these mantras. So as she is becoming weaker, then she drops one of the babies. So that is Chandravali. She falls into one area in the Vidarbha, some river, and then later she is picked up by Jambavan and she grows up there and she comes from that side. And after some more time she becomes even weaker and then she drops Radharani. So Radharani finally she ends up with Purnamasi. Purnamasi, for you who do not know, Purnamasi is the director of the entire show. So all the pastimes that are happening in Vrindavan, Purnamasi is the director. She is the one who is doing all these things. Okay. Then finally the baby is found. Radharani is found to Purnamasi. Purnamasi and goes and gives to Kirtida. Kirtida is the eternal mother of Radharani. That's why Brahma was thinking, Brahma thought, I gave the boon, but Radharani's mother is eternal mother is Kirtida. How can you be the mother? So finally the Radharani reaches Kirtida and Vrishabhanu. Then Vrishabhanu finds this girl, and there are a couple of variations of the story, but this is one of the stories how Radharani came into this material world. Then Vrishabhanu and Kirtida were extremely happy to have this baby girl, very, very beautiful, right? Very soft, beautiful like lotus. But their happiness fades away very quickly. Why? Because the baby doesn't see, there is no movement. I mean, she doesn't hear. Because she cannot hear, she cannot even talk. She is dumb, she is deaf, she is blind. So, I mean, Vrishabhanu is a very, very popular personality in that area, but he doesn't want to tell that these two babies are here because, this baby is in this situation. So, he keeps the baby with him. Then later on, Narada Muni goes and he goes to Nanda Maharaj first. He looks at, Krishna. He pays obeisances to Krishna and then he starts thinking, Nanda Maharaj starts thinking, Krishna is here, that means his eternal consort also should be here somewhere. Then he starts searching everywhere in every house for a baby girl. Then finally he ends up at Vrishabhanu's house. Then he asks, do you have any recent born kids? Then Vrishabhanu brings a baby boy who is nothing but Sridama. This is another Sridama, a very close friend of Krishna later on. Then he says, yeah, it's wonderful, he's very, very beautiful, but do you have any other girl, not just a boy? Then with some hesitation, Vrishabhanu brings the baby girl to Narada Muni. So Narada Muni sees the baby and immediately understands that this baby is none other than Srimati Radhika, Radharani. And he tells Vrishabhanu to go out for some time. He wants to have a solitary time, one-on-one with this baby. And then, he pays obeisances to the small baby Radharani and he offers all his prayers. And then Radharani shows her Navayavana form, 14-year-old beautiful Radharani's form. And then he tells Vrishabhanu to invite Yashodamai and Nanda Maharaj. So when they come with Krishna, when they show Krishna, as soon as Krishna comes to Vrishabhanu's house, he immediately slips down from her arm, Yashoda's arm, and starts traveling towards Radhe, and he goes and touches Radharani. As soon as Krishna touches Radharani, immediately Radharani opens her eyes and then she starts responding. So she wanted to see Krishna first in this material world. That's what it was. So that is Srimati Radharani, our eternal mother, very loving, very compassionate, very, very merciful. Devotees in Gaudiya Sampradaya, or ISKCON, we always go through Srimati Radharani to approach Krishna. Because we have so many conditionings, we are not perfect. So when we go through Radharani, she removes that, she adjusts, like a mother, loving mother, she adjusts and then she offers that to Krishna. When we go to Radharani, she offers this person, the devotee, to Krishna. He is your devotee, please accept him. When Radharani says something, Krishna cannot say no. If we directly go to Krishna, he can say no. But when Radharani says something, he cannot say no. So that's the reason we have to always go towards Radharani, worship Radharani. Even though we say we are International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we are actually Radha Krishna. Radha is the main one for us. So we always have to worship, keep her in our hearts, worship her sincerely, pray that our love for Krishna is awakened and we can be engaged in the service of Krishna. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are addressing Radharani. Oh Hare, oh energy of Krishna. So we are telling Radharani, please engage me on Krishna's loving service. That's what our prayer, we are always doing that, but we should have that consciousness. When we are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we have to have that consciousness that, oh Radharani, please engage me in your service and in Krishna's service. That should be our mood. So that is the position of Radharani. It is just, as I said, there is so much to say about Radharani. There is so much, and I am not even qualified to discuss about other pastimes that happened, beautiful pastimes that happened. But as I said, this is just a appetizer, so that we all can have a proper mood next 1 week at least. After Radhashtami, we don't know what our mood is going to be, but at least for next 1 week, let's have proper mood, meditate upon the lotus feet of Radharani. There are 25 qualities of Radharani. You can find in, our Veda base and our, Google. If you go there, you can find them. So meditate upon these qualities. And I would like to end with few prayers, like 3 or 4 prayers. I know I am running late, but I thought this is very, very, important and interesting prayers, 4 or 5 prayers, very short prayers. If we all can meditate while we are doing these prayers, that would really help us to have a proper mood. Is that okay? So let's do that, and then I will end the class at the time. Okay, so please repeat after me. Radha Rajeshwari Ramya Ramacha Paramatmanaha Rasodbhava Krishna Kanta Krishna Vakshastalastita. Beautiful Srimati Radharani is the queen and the origin of the Rasa dance. She is the giver of pleasure to Krishna, who is the super soul in the hearts of all. She is the lover of Krishna and is always situated upon the chest of the Lord. Okay? Next one. Golokavasini Gopi Gopisha Gopamatrika Sananda Paramananda Nandanandana Kamini. She is a resident of Goloka Vrindavana and is a cowherd damsel. She is the queen of the gopis and the divine mother of the cowherd boys. She is joyful and always experiencing the highest bliss. And she incites lusty desires in the heart of the son of Nanda, Lord Krishna. Okay. Next one. Vrishabhanu Suta Shanta Kanta Purna Tamatata Kamya Kalavati Kanya Tirth Putra Sati Shubha. Radha is the daughter of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. She is very peaceful and lovely. She is completely contented and fulfilled, very pleasing, and is the daughter of Kalavati. She is the purifier of the Tirthas, holy places, and she is most auspicious and chaste to Lord Krishna. Kalavati is nothing but Kirtida. Another name of Kirtida is Kalavati. All right? Okay. The next one. Samsara sagare gore Beetam mam sharanagatam Sarvebhyopi vinirmuktam Kuru Radhe Sureshwari. O Radha, I have fallen into the horrible ocean of birth and death, and I am frightened. But I am seeking your shelter. O Queen of the demigods, please free me from all fears. This is a very, very beautiful prayer. Right? Okay, the next one. This is also very nice. Tvatpada padmayugale Pada padmalayarchite Chite Dehi mahyam param bhaktim Krishnena parisevate. O Radhika, please give me transcendental devotional service to your lotus feet, which are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lakshmi, and which are served even by Lord Krishna. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. O Srimati Radha Rani, I offer my respects to you, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold. O goddess, you are the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and are very dear to Lord Krishna. Okay, so I think this is the last one. So let's give our full attention and move to Radharani. Mahabhava Swarupatvam Krishna Priyavariyasi Prema Bhakti Prade Devi Radhike Tvam Namamyaham. O Srimati Radharani, you are the exalted form of Mahabhava. I think we should all repeat this, okay? O Srimati Radharani, you are the exalted form of Mahabhava. Exalted form. Therefore, you are the most dear to Krishna. O Goddess, you alone are able to bestow pure love for the Supreme Lord. Therefore, I offer my humble obeisances unto you. Sri Radhika ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you all so much, and thank you all so much for tolerating me for almost 1.5 hours. But I hope you got some basic understanding of who is Srimati Radharani. So please come next Saturday. We have festivities scheduled throughout the day from morning, 5 o'clock Mangalarti, with a beautiful darshan of Radha and Krishna in the new outfits. And also in the evening program start at 4. Actually we published 4:30, but we are going to change it to 4 so that we can start with nice bhajans with prayerful moods. And then 4:30 we will have, Sri Radha is going to sing very nice bhajans on Srimati Radharani. Then we are going to have Abhishek ceremony and pastimes of Radharani by Vrajabhakti Mataji. And then we will have ecstatic kirtan and sumptuous feast. So, and there is a lot of service opportunity. Again, this is an opportunity to serve Srimati Radharani. So please do whatever you can. Whatever, doesn't matter, any little service. Even if you come just for half day or like half hour, 5 minutes, just pick up something from here and there in the kitchen. That's enough. If you cannot do a lot of service, but do something for Radharani on Radhashtami. That would go a long way. That will awaken, loving devotional service in our hearts. Okay? So we will end here, and then we will do some kirtan in the glorification of Sri Radha and Krishna. Hari Bol.